Hello guys! Welcome to the fifth part of the SASS and Advanced CSS course. Today we are going to make the navigation menu. But first, let me show you how the final version will look like. Here is the element. It will get bigger on hover, and after clicking it, it will change to this X, and we've got our menu. These 5 elements that are nicely highlighted when we hover over them. So, let's dive into the code. So the first thing that we wanted to do is to create special SASS file to include our styles into this. So let me do this. I will create file called navigation, of course with this load as before, navigation.SCSS, and let's import it inside our main SCSS file. Import navigation. Let's save this, and we've got everything set up. So we can jump into the index.html file. Inside of it, we'll create the navigation element at the end of this body, because we want to have it display on top of everything, on top of every element of the entire page. So let's make a div called nav with the element, and inside of it we want to have for this moment only the icon, so it will be nav icon, and I forgot here, we need to specify that it will be a span, and let's just hit the tab button and we've got our span. So we can dive into the SCSS file to style it, to make our first element, the first bar, and also this pseudo element before and after. So let's call the nav class, and inside of it we'll give the position to fixed to this element, because it will go with us along scrolling the website, so it will always be in the right top corner. So here we've got fixed. We can also specify the alignment, so from the right it will be 8 rem, and from the top also 8 rem, so it will be in the top right corner. We can also give it a height of, not in this place, here we can give a height of 3 rem, and also we can display it as a flex. Now when we've got that, we can specify our flex properties, so the justify content set to center, and the align items also set to center. The one thing that we are missing here is the width of this element, and let's set it to auto, because we don't want to specify the width here, we want to specify the width to the icon, so the icon will decide how the container will be big. So let's create the icon that we have already added in HTML file. So it will be the sign and the dash dash icon. We can use the position relative, because our first center bar will be positioned relative, and the before element and the after will have position absolute, in order to display on the top and of the bottom of the center element. You can see how it will look like. So let's have the position to relative. We can move it a little bit from the top, for example 1 rem. We can all add the z index to 2, because we want to see this element on top of each other. And now we can give it a width, let's say 4 rem. Also height, it will be only 0.5 rem. The background color, because we don't need to see it, will be color white transparent. When we hover over this element, it will change to color white, but now let's specify only this, color white transparent. Display it as a block, and let's reload this file here and see the result. So now we've got the first element of our menu. We are missing here the after and before pseudo-element to this menu. So let's create them. We can take all these properties, cut them, and enter them into end to give it to this icon element, to the end with the before, and to the end with the after pseudo element, and here paste these properties that we had before, and now we'll have 3 of them in the same place, so we wouldn't see even this before and after. So let's move it a little bit from the center, so we can here add also to the before element a little bit of spacing from the top, so -1 rem, and the same to the after, but to the another direction. So we'll have now top with 1 rem. We are missing here the specification to the before and after element. Let me quickly implement it. We'll have to set the content, because without the setting the content, the element wouldn't be displayed. So we need to have that. We'll also have to set the position to absolute. Add the left to the left parameter set to 0. We've got an error here. Yeah, because we have added not this correct sign. Okay, it should work right now. And as you can see, we've got 3 of our elements set up. Maybe now it's good time to create the animation of this element, so increasing the spacing and also change the color to white. We'll need to do it in the nav class on the hover of this element. So let's add the hover, and then we'll need to add the parameter to the nav icon class. So it will look like that, and when we hover over it, we will see that the styles inside of it will be applied to the nav icon element when the nav element is hovered. You will see when we implement it. First of all, let's add to all of this element. We can copy it from here because it is the same. To the 3 elements, let's add the background color changed to color white when we are hovering, and to the before element, let's move it a little bit from the center. So to the before, we can specify the top to -1.2 rem, and to the after, the same but without the minus. And when we save that, you can see that our animation is working. But it is not working at this moment as it should, because we can only see it when we hover over this white element. When we hover inside of it, it will not be working. But for this moment, it is okay. So let's now implement the functionality of this bar. So first of all, what we need to do is an input of type checkbox. With type checkbox here, you might think, for what do we need that? It's because when the checkbox, it got 2 states, the true and the false. When it's checked, when it got the true state, it will be, the icon will change to this X. If it is unchecked, it will be these 3 bars. Let's add it a class called nav checkbox to be consistent with other properties. And also what we need to do is the ID. Let's set it to navigation. And now we can also specify a label which will be connected with this checkbox. It will be connected with the for class here, the for element parameter. It is parameter of HTML tag, and it will have before the navigation. It will have a class, for example, nav checkbox label. checkbox label, and inside of it we'll put our span as we got here, and we just need to close the tag. We can also format the document, and now we can go to the SASS file to style this. We can start with the checkbox label, and then after that we can go back to the checkbox element. So here we can create it, checkbox label, and let's add the Z index the same as the icon. Also width and height set to 100% because we want to have the same width and height as the parent. And also let's add the cursor set to pointer to give the user feeling that he can click on it. And now what we can do here is to the checkbox we've got a pseudo-class called checked, and it is used when the checkbox is checked, and then we can make certain actions. So to the checkbox element, when it is checked, so when the checkbox is checked, we can use a sibling selector, which is this plus, and go to the checkbox label, like here. Oh, we've already got that, but like here, and to the icon. So when we hover over it, you can see that we've got with this plus this sibling selector from the checkbox when it's checked to the label, and inside of it to the icon. And we can make the background color to transparent. It's because our normal icon will disappear and there will only be this pseudo after and before elements, because we only need two elements to make this cross, to make this X. And now we can copy that, not cut, just copy. And here reference to the before element, and with the before element move it to the top, so specify the top to 0, and also rotate it with the transform property by 135 degree, and the same with the after element. So we can copy this, paste below, but set the rotate to minus 155 degree, and here we've got the after. And now we can check how it look like. And as you can see, we've got our checkbox here. Also, when we hover over this element, it makes bigger, and when we check the checkbox, it turns into an X. We are hiding this element inside of it, and we've got only these two elements to make this X. But we are missing the animation here, and we also don't want to display this checkbox in this place. So let's first hide this checkbox, and we can do it by setting the display of the checkbox display to none, and the functionality will still be working. We didn't see this element, and we are missing the animation here on the before and after element. So let's set it by the transition and set it to all 0.2 seconds. And also in this place we can set the animation to give it to the button, all 0.2 seconds, and now it will be perfect. And as you can see, we've got everything working as it should be. So thanks for watching, and see you in the next part of this course.